Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today I have finally gotten around to checking out the new CS5 bolt-action rifle for Battlefield 4. I have tried to love this thing. I've given it hugs, I've cuddled with it at night, but I just can't do it anymore. I can't make this thing work. It slaps me around, it's an abusive relationship at this point, and I honestly can't even see why anyone would want to use this over almost every other bolt-action rifle in the game. It does have some amazing qualities to it. It does 100 damage up close and then drops off to 59 damage at long range, so as long as you're getting a headshot on your target, you're going to drop them in one at all distances. That's awesome. It also has one of the highest rounds per minute, coming in at 63 for a bolt-action rifle, so you're able to get a lot of rounds downrange very quickly, and it also has a blazing fast reload speed when you compare it to the other bolt-action rifles. Its short reload time is only going to take you 2.7 seconds, and its long is going to take you 4.6. The problem we run into, though, and it's a massive issue, is that its bullet velocity is only 400 meters per second, and if you use the suppressor, which it comes standard with, granted, it's a unique suppressor, it looks awesome, it's only got a bullet velocity of 300 meters per second. That's atrocious. That is terrible. Like, if you use a shotgun with the flechette rounds, let's say, for example, you're using the 870 shotgun with flechette, it has a faster bullet velocity than a bolt-action rifle. Why is this a case, Dice? I get it. You were going for an aggressive recon because the Dragon's Teeth DLC is all about infantry and close quarter combat. You wanted to give the recon class a bolt action rifle that would allow them to do well up close. I get that. But when I'm using a bolt action rifle, I at least want to have some sort of accuracy where I don't have to predict in the future 5 seconds where my enemy is going to be, because it takes the bullet seemingly forever to reach its destination. You basically either have to be a god, you have to have divine intervention to know and predict where your enemy is heading, or just be an incredibly skillful player to make this weapon work. Even if you are amazing, you know what, I'm going to detract from what I just said. Even if you are one of the best snipers in the game, and you know how to predict the enemy movement, and you can line it up, and you can predict these shots, because it takes such a long time for your bullet to reach where it's going to go, half the time the enemy is going to stop. They're going to deviate from where you're going, and because you have to predict like 4 seconds into the future to line up these headshots, if they stop on the dime, and you guys know that's the movement in Battlefield, if they deviate from the left or the right for just half a second, you're going to miss your shot, letting them know that you're shooting at them. Then they're going to duck behind cover, and you're not going to be able to secure the kill. And so while, yes, it's got some amazing attributes behind it. High damage model, high rounds per minute, so you can take out multiple targets very quickly. You got 11 rounds in your magazine, or 10 rounds in your magazine, so you can take out multiple people back to back. And if you do need a reload, it's not gonna take you very long to go through that animation. But simply because of that slow bullet velocity, it completely ruins the gun for me. Like, I had so many moments where I was physically getting upset with Battlefield. I was physically getting upset with the game because I had to predict so far into the future to line up these headshots. And maybe it's just because I'm bad at sniping. Like, I've already admitted I'm not the best sniper in the game, but I pick up like the SRR-61, I pick up the Goal. I do far better with those guns, and while yes, they may not have as high of a rounds per minute, they may not have as many rounds in the magazine, but at least I'm a hell of a lot more consistent with them because it doesn't take an eternity for the bullet to reach where it's heading, and I don't have to be a divine, omniscient god to predict the movement of my enemy. If you can't tell, I was a little upset when I started checking out the CS5. The one thing that is worth mentioning is that the suppressor on this isn't as large of a hindrance compared to the other bolt-action rifles. Like, once again, this has a normal bullet velocity of 400. You slap on the suppressor, it drops it to 300. But let's say, for example, you use the SRR-61, it goes from like 620 all the way down to like 320. Like, it's a massive difference when you're using the other bolt-action rifles. And so I guess you could say that is one redeeming quality of using this gun, but personally, a suppressor on a sniper rifle just doesn't make any sense. Like, it's almost an oxymoron at this point. Sure, the suppressor is going to keep you off the minimap. If you're going for that silent assassin playstyle, you want to have that stealthy role, then absolutely, that is the best way to go about it. Slapping on the suppressor is going to fulfill that role. But because of the way that DICE has gone about balancing out these weapons, yeah, you're off the minimap, but there's also 2 other ways that the enemy can pinpoint your exact location. There were so many moments when I fired off on an enemy and they saw install my Vapor Trail. The Vapor Trail is, yes, I guess one way for you to pinpoint or try to track where your bullet is heading, but it also lets the enemy know exactly where your bullet is heading. And this was a mechanism, I'm assuming DICE put in, so that if a sniper was on top of a rooftop and you got shot at by a sniper, you at least would have some idea of where that bullet was coming from, and then you could either duck behind cover or try to close the gap and take them out. So the Vapor Trail for long distance sniping makes sense, but if you're right next to someone, or, you know, a fair distance, medium distance away, having the Vapor Trail pinpoint pretty much exactly where you are while you're using a suppressor is pretty much just a big slap in the face. Not only that, but if you're using a higher optic like the 8x scope, once again, they're going to be able to find you out because of the sniper glint. So even if you are playing aggressively, you're using the bolt action rifle and you're running and gunning, and I guess you could say that you shouldn't be running and gunning with a higher optic, but still, just because of the way that they've gone about the bolt action rifle mechanics, is that while yes, you're not on the minimap, but there's so many other ways for the enemy to pinpoint your exact location and promptly take you out. And so the one place where I at least had a moderate amount of success with the CS5, and I'm sure many of you have already noticed this, was I played on hardcore mode. On hardcore mode, sniper rifles are almost overpowered. Like, you shoot someone in the toe, they're basically going to die. And so since the CS5 has that high damage model, it's got that great rounds per minute, it's got these great attributes, as long as you play somewhat aggressively, or even if you want to shoot people at a distance because you don't have to go for the headshots at that point, you can have some success with the CS5 on those game modes. Once again, I still felt like if I was using the SRR61 or the Gull, I would still have a lot more success because I wouldn't have to predict the movement of my enemy as often, but it seems to be like the best game mode for this particular weapon. And so overall, I just can't see myself using the CS5 anymore, at least on normal mode. Yes, it's got some amazing stats. Yes, if you want to play aggressively and use it more like a shotgun, you can have these amazing kill streaks, and I've seen some people do incredibly well with this gun. Like, they've got it down, that they understand the weapon to a T. But for me, because I just don't have the patience maybe to learn that bullet travel speed, maybe it's just because I don't have divine intervention and I can't predict their movement for a day and a half in advance, it's just not a gun for my type of playstyle. But I'd love to know what you guys think about the CS5. Do you love it? Do you hate it? I guess this is a good thing that it's not the best bolt action rifle in the game because it is a DLC weapon and we don't usually want DLC weapons to be top tier. But I'd like to know what you guys think down below. But until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.